appropriate position.
Should I? Where it's supposed to be?
Yes, gain.
Just need to go more?
Yes, it's all the way down. All right,
Nick.
I think Nick turned it off for whatever reason, but
Was doing a
lower it
podcast last
a bit,
night.
John. It's a little too high.
All right, we're zooming in
That's
on
a little bit lower.
a little bit lower, a little bit more.
That should be good.
All right, we're getting there, folks.
You just don't want it in that red. Yep, there you go. That should be good.
All right, hopefully this is good now. Let us know if you can hear us, our wonderful, wonderful viewers.
But we were just doing a little introduction, and John was talking about his Mortifier build, which he is going to be playing on Thursday in the War Room.
Absolutely, I will. Very excited to play that.
Only 9 Mortifiers, not the full.
Only 9. Not the full Emperor's dozen.
But it is Guard and Sisters.
Guard and Sisters.
Why did Guard and Sisters actually work so well for your list?
Well, Guard and Sisters, being as fun-loving as
Because you
they
love
are.
Pure Sisters as well.
I do love Pure Sisters. This is more about shoring up the Guard than it is shoring up the Sisters. I think Sisters are great Pure. I think definitely be played. But one of the strengths of Mortifiers is that they're really good without needing Miracle Dice. Because they can't use Miracle Dice, to be clear.
Yeah.
It's just not allowed. So it's nice to have, a unit that doesn't require all the support. But then if you do Pure Sisters, then it's like, all right, well, am I going to take all this Miracle Dice support and not use it on 700 points of my army? So the Mortifiers, as awesome of a unit as they are, they actually work better in Soup than in Pure. Because, frankly, the Miracle Dice resources feel a little bit wasted if you have 720 points of this model doesn't interact with my core mechanic.
Yeah, and even with Bulgrin going down, Guards still probably have the worst counter-assault in Imperium.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going to say the game, and I'm like, well, maybe not the worst in the game, but Imperium,
No,
100%.
that's Tau.
That's Tau. Yeah.
That's Tau.
Strachan is much better than
One
Force.
Crisis Suit unit can only kill the Sworn Lord, and that's it. Against Nick.
Oh, okay.
He didn't let me roll it out.
Against Nick, I'll accept.
I charged the 9-man in and did the Mortals, and then had the full rerolls.
Ugh, disgusting.
He was like, no.
Disgusting.
Not letting the Sworn Lord die to Crisis Suits.
I'm ashamed of you. Alright, let me grab some paint.
They're bodyguards, though, John. It's okay. Thanks so much for joining us, Andreas, and letting us know about the sound. I am going to just, once again, double check. Yep. Looks to be all working on our end.
Excellent. I'm back. Nice and easy.
Alright.
Getting some Ulfwin Grey in here.
And let me see if I can get the chat working real quick.
Mm-hmm. Chat working is always a nice place to be.
Mm-hmm. We tend to have to wait for it to go live because the link changes, but this should work. On Twitch, it's very easy because they have a function that works with OBS.
Yeah.
With the actual overlay, whereas for YouTube,
A little more complicated?
yep, you have to create a browser source in OBS
Oh.
and then go from there.
That's a whole thing of effort there.
Let's see if that works.
Okay. What are you going to be working on today, Mr. Siegler?
Today, I am going to be working on a mix of things. First of all, the basing for my Taraxi, which is the list I am running into John's Imperium.
Oh-ho!
So it's Imperium on Imperium.
Adeptus Mechanicus.
I am running my Pure Styges list, something that I actually showed off, at least a variation in on Twitch a couple weeks ago against Mark Perry's Chaos Slanesh mix.
Mm-hmm.
And it did really well there playing the mission, so I am hoping it does the same against John's list. And one of the things I noticed about John's list is not a lot of units he just wants randomly out in middle objectives. There's
All the units.
all of his units are like really important to do particular roles, but none of them are, I'm just going to sit on an objective here and survive.
Well, the plan is for you to not have units left, and I'll get on the objectives at
Yeah,
that point.
so Styges, of course, -1 to hit is super nice against Guard, and hopefully I can roll Shroud Psalm when I need it, including picking at turn 1.
We shall see. I would imagine that you'll be picking a turn 1 to try to weather the storm that is coming.
Just minimize as much damage. Now, I don't know how many special weapons teams John wants to actually put on the ground, but I do have a lot of little plink shots that can do quite a bit of damage.
That is very, very true.
Sulfur Hounds and Cerberus Raiders. So, we'll see. I'm excited because Styges is just very strong overall, I feel. And unlike Mars, it doesn't have the same limitations. I can just send my whole army into my opponent's deployment zone if I want to.
Yeah. Now, I happen to feel very strongly about this little Imperium Super Army I'm working on. But I will say Styges is going to be a harder than average test. I'd actually much rather just go up against like Space Marines than Styges Admech in this exact matchup.
And to be fair, John, you did design this Imperium Soup list from the perspective of if I wanted to really try and counter, or at least put as many tools in my list that are good against White Scars as possible, it would be something like this, right?
Absolutely. This list is tailor-made to kill Blood Angels, White Scars, basically all flavors of Space Marines. As a matter of fact, we recorded an Art of War podcast about it. And that was me and Mr. Nick Nanavati, along with, of course, John Damaris.
And I believe that is coming out early next week for the patrons?
For patrons, I believe it's coming out later today. And for the public, it'll be coming out next week. So
awesome.
There'll be plenty of stuff if you're curious about exactly how these darn mortifiers work.
Yeah, so that talks about the philosophy of the list, the matchups, and you'll get to actually see it in action on Thursday.
Indeed. I'm going to have to take down these servants of the machine gun. They are going down.
I feel like Tulip Invul and Electro Priest is just like, nope, don't want to deal with that.
We'll find a way. I mean, if they have 10 Electro Priests, all you need to do is make them take 60 saves, and then they'll fill 10. Yep. Done. No problem.
But I am running 3 bricks of them. I really like that. I just the power of 3 of them, because you can always send 1 and trade down a little bit and still have 2 left.
Yeah, it's a lot of investment in those Electro Priests, but it's going to certainly provide a challenge.
How does your list for tomorrow look, Mr. Lennon? It says the con of cons.
Ooh, the Coggin?
The Coggin.
Well, my list for tomorrow is looking like 9 Mortifiers, a Retributor squad, 2 Repentia units, a Canonist and a Priest, 5 Guard Plasma units, 2 full payload Manticores. I think that's the list. And then all the troops of a Guard detachment, 2 infantry squads, some Scions, a couple commanders.
There's no fluff here. It's just max efficiency, honestly.
There's a lot of fluff. This is the Ministorum Crusade, where we're combining all of the penitents and the conscripts who are holding the plasma guns and just throwing them all together. These are designed to die for the Emperor.
So very much a play the mission later type of list?
No, I think it's actually pretty decent at playing the mission. It does secondaries very well.
Which ones?
Engaged all front scramblers. I've got...
You're going to play the Mortifiers aggressively?
No, I'm going to play everything else aggressively. There's like 30 units in this list.
Yeah, but I mean,
I only
it's
need
not
one
like your infantry is going to survive at all.
No, it doesn't need... Engaged all fronts isn't about survival. It's about sacrificing one turn after another.
But once they're down, they're down.
Yeah. We've got enough orders. I'm confident here. Perhaps Siegler does not grasp the grand majesty of this army.
I just don't see anything that survives on objectives. So
no,
primary is going to be an issue, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, out of the concerns that I'd have about a list.
Yeah. Yes, I think that if you put enough quantity of stuff onto objectives, something will still be alive.
So you go for quantity.
Quantity is a quality all of its own.
Played versus Custodes yesterday with my Necrons and tried the Reanimator. Wow, he is hard to try and hide and still keep up with the target. He reanimates. He really works with the big 20 warrior bricks, because you put one model behind the ruin near him, and then you strain all the way back out. Kind of like if you watch the game I played against John, where I had the warriors strung all over the place.
Yeah.
You basically pick a point where the Reanimator is going to sit for the whole game, and you just string back to him with both units. So, and then there'll be points where you don't actually need him anymore. It's better to go aggressively onto objectives.
Those long Necron daisy chains.
But that's pretty much how it works. I think he works extremely well in the WTC tournament terrain formats, because there's small ruins everywhere that he can hide behind.
That makes a lot of sense.
And they're mostly in midfield, so you just deploy the one that's kind of at the edge of your deployment zone and just string back to him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But on like lighter terrain boards, I think it'd be hard to have, because he has essentially no defense, unfortunately.
No, he really doesn't. He's like a 6 wounds.
T5, 4-up save or something.
Yeah,
it's just not good.
That'll go down pretty fast if you needed to.
I have to relook at his profile again, but I plan to keep him behind terrain.
Yep. I would expect so. I would certainly expect so.
Alright, let's get some of this Mars basing. I have to paint the...
I'm going to get some wood.
This is the mistake with the Mars basing, is you actually need to put a base coat of paint down for it to...
for the crackle to really...
properly crackle it.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
that is corn red that you want.
Corn red. I do like my corn red. Use it on my flames.
But I think we're going to be getting Necrons versus Custodes once again, because Lyle has switched from wanting to see Sisters versus Necrons to back to Custodes. Because him and Gundam are having a little
tit for tat back and forth.
Yeah, a little competition here, especially for top gifter of subs.
Interesting, very interesting. You know what? I live for these competitions. I'm here for it. We will show the Silent King the error of his ways.
I don't think I get to run the Silent King.
Oh, well, then this is just going to be much easier.
I don't get to run the Silent King.
Just going to run straight into your army and kill it all. No problem.
John has respect for the Silent King. He knows what's up.
I know what he does, and he's a trap. So he actually doesn't do anything. He just sits there and is like, "Oh, please waste your time on me." And I'm like, "No, I'm just gonna let you do nothing over there." It's very easy.
Nick has not played. It's funny because
Nick keeps doing it.
Well, he hasn't gotten the chance to do it again in a long time. He played those first couple where I really started to refine the Silent King build, and then it's only been John playing against Necrons.
Yes, but not with any of my armies.
You played against with the White Scars.
I did, and the one time I beat them, it's like, now Space Wolves, now I have Mech. No, stop.
Here's Custodes.
I want to like pitch like Richard's first game with an army into like my White Scars. That's what we're doing here.
I mean, I'm happy to play it. I'm not the one who shies away from matchups.
That's true. It's someone else in this house.
I never really tried the string theory. Yeah, go back and watch, I think it was last week, Custodes versus Necrons on our YouTube channel. And if you watch how I position the warriors and really just try and hold multiple objectives with them, instead of going, kind of side to side horizontally on the middle of the board, instead I would have had one model back in my ruin with the reanimator and then strung them out from there. So that's pretty much what you want to try and do. Find a really good ruin, ideally on the edge of your deployment zone, get the reanimator in there, and then string back to him.
Makes a lot of sense.
Now, there are armies that really just can't even kill the reanimator, which is like Slanesh Demons or some of these pure melee armies that we're seeing, where you just make it so they can never get engagement range of it. In that case, you can move it up aggressively, which lets you get more models in range to shoot and a fight in melee. So, we'll see. I'm not like 100% convinced on the reanimator, but I feel like if you take a Resorb, it's just amazing value because at minimum, you get the 4-ups on that one time with the Resorb, and then you'll probably get at least 1 or 2 times
when you're targeted.
When a unit's targeted.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So
I can see the reanimator being useful.
Like 4-ups for 80 points, like it seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, not amazing, but definitely good enough to try on the table.
Yep.
And maybe it'll end up being amazing. Certainly wouldn't be shocked if at the end of this, Siegler decided to keep it as a staple of his Silent King build.
It's funny because I thought they would just leave the reanimator as like, here's the worst Necron unit for the whole edition, but they were really willing to change it, and I'm glad they were.
Yeah.
It was the standout, hey, I would never take this unit.
I feel like the Hexmark Destroyer is like pretty terrible.
It is pretty terrible.
I do remember when Nick,
frankly,
there was like 5 minutes of Nick trying to tell me.
Well, he wanted to run 3, and then both of us were like, let's take a step back for just 1 second.
Just actually look at what this does. Like, here's a squad of guards.
He thought it worked like the
Calormorph? Yeah, it's a whole different beast right there.
Yeah. He was excited because it can Overwatch on 2s, but the problem is it's AP 1 with 1 damage.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what is it killing? A couple guardsmen? Like,
does it even? Like,
it would.
A couple guardsmen?
Yeah, a couple, not the whole squad. But that's just not enough.
No,
obviously.
That's not why I take my 75-point characters. It is a character, right?
Yes.
Sad.
But it can't target characters.
Yeah, but it also wouldn't kill them if it targeted them, so like, that's okay.
Yeah, it might kill a GC character.
Don't wound me like that. Now, GC you can look at, sir.
I know, I was because it can't, actually.
I know.
Because it doesn't get the extra shots. Because it's not on hit rolls.
It could get closer than I'm comfortable with. GC characters are pretty bad.
Custodes 3 up invuln spam is really hard to play versus.
Yeah.
It's very strong. I mean, you saw how durable they are. And I think if John does what the update he wants to do, or run maybe like 1 Sisters of Silence squad to hold an objective just to get another true squad. I was going to
say guard patrol, but...
Yeah. For pure Custodes.
Alright, for pure, yes.
The problem is once you start adding guard, you're like, all right, but here's more special weapons teams. Here's 2 full payload mana cores, and it's like
that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
There's not as many Custodes in here as you would expect.
You can still fit like 5 dreadnoughts,
which I like.
I mean, what else do you need, right? Just a modest 5 dreadnoughts. Go rumble up on people.
And we're all really hard to kill.
They are.
And hit hard in combat.
There are. I think that'd be an awesome team tournament army. Because there's a shocking number of armies that just straight up cannot kill Custodes dreadnoughts.
But yeah, there's a lot. Well, overall, there's a lot of armies that rely on 2 damage.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to get it done.
No, not at all.
So, and this is why we're seeing lists like John and I's Marines start to shift with Death Guard coming in.
I just had an idea.
What?
We need a team tournament event where it's Team Nick versus Team John. 5 lists for John, 5 lists for Nick. We pair them into each other. And then we just John versus Nick 5 times. Oh, come on. That would actually be amazing.
I mean, yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't get to play for like 2 weeks.
No. It's a 4-person team event.
But you're playing
Team Richard, Team Mark, Team John, Team Nick. This is like a 2-week special here. Okay. This is like the month of July. If COVID's doing its thing and we don't have an ATC, we do a team event.
I'd be down for it.
That would be fun.
You know how much I love team events.
I love the pairing process, team events. I love all of it.
I think I'd rather 2v2, and we both create 2 lists, and then we have a combined list. For them, it would be Chaos. For us, it would be Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our like ace match list.
I'd be down for that. We could do some stuff. Team Imperium versus Team Chaos.
Yeah, I think something like that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of like little challenges we could do. And if anyone ever has an idea that they want to pitch at us, we're always open to it.
What about the Hexmark with the Relic Pistol if the Hordes become good? Honestly, Necrons just have so many good anti-Horde tools that I just don't want to spend 75 points on the Hexmark Destroyer.
What does the Relic Pistol do?
I think it's 6 do Immortal or something.
To wound?
No, 6 to hit.
So like
I
one
forget what
mortal
exactly. No, you get all the extra. Let me look at what it does again.
Okay.
Because I forget, because it sucks.
Alright, we're going to find out together, folks. I, for one, am excited for this, to find out what the Hexmark Destroyer actually doesn't do.
The Gauntlet of Conflagration. Pistol 1. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, the attack automatically hits.
I think that's a different one. The Gauntlet of Conflagration is like the flamer thing. It's like a hand. It's like a hand that turns into a flamer. I thought.
Yeah, this is what he's talking about, though, because it's a pistol.
Oh, I see.
It automatically hits. Instead of making a wound roll, you roll 1d6 for every model in the target, and then ones. They suffer 1 mortal for every 6.
Oh.
Like, it is decent against Hordes.
That's interesting.
But
and the Hexmark can take that?
Yeah.
Interesting. Is that instead of one of his pistols or all of his pistols?
No, he gets the pistols plus that.
Oh, that's cool. That's kind of...
Like, it's not horrible, but at the end of the day, Necrons are one of the best
anti-Necrons. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're like... If we're talking like Orc Resurgence, 30-man boy units everywhere, that's a Relic and a Hexmark to average 5 extra boys.
Yeah.
Because that's what that averages, and I don't love that.
So, I think you would end up just taking more warriors.
Yeah, there's a lot of efficient ways to kill 5 boys.
Yeah, or 30 boys.
Right? 30
Necrons,
boys.
like, 10 Lich Guard got in there. Well, pick up the boy unit because it's gone.
All gone.
20 warriors will destroy an Orc mob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, imagine they would.
They've got great tools for
Imagine they would. Poor Orcs.
How's it going, Gundam? Hope you are doing well.
What's up, Gundam? Welcome to the chat. We are glad to have you here.
I read that Goonhammer has access to the Death Guard Codex. Don't you know those guys so you can play on Saturday? We know them, but they're not allowed to share anything with us, and not with anybody, let alone...
Yep. They have NDAs, we don't. So unfortunately, we don't know.
We're going to get the Death Guard rules when everybody else gets them with those YouTube previews, and then we'll be playing them the following week.
Yep. I'm sure that they're very entertaining, and I would love to know what is in those Death Guard rules, but we'll find out about the same time as everyone else, I suspect.
Yeah, and John and I are both the type of people to wake up very early to watch those reviews.
That is absolutely what I do. 100%. Saturday morning, I don't watch cartoons, I watch YouTube reviews of the Death Guard Codex. And then I watch football. Well, it's a nice life. Saturdays are good.
It seems like there's going to be a lot to work through because almost everything seems to have
the mechanics that they're previewing are complex, and like they look cool, and they look relatively powerful, where limited knowledge is like, okay, I could see Death Guard being a good army here.
think this is going to be very much like Necrons, where it's going to take a little while to figure out what's
actually. Like I'm going to dumpster a Death Guard the first 2 times I play them, and they're just slowly going to get harder to beat, and I'm going to be like, all right, this is no longer fun. This is no longer what I wanted. I lured into a false sense of security by the first 2 times I absolutely dunked on the Silent King. It did get harder from that
To be
point.
fair, you didn't dunk on him.
I dunked on him.
He killed
Dunked on him.
He killed Gilliman. And
That was a mercy kill because I didn't shoot him and walked Gilliman in
He
alone,
wouldn't have died.
other than the Blade Guard.
That was just showing how bad destroyers are.
That.
These are more expensive than plasma inceptors, and they're like a third of the efficiency.
I forgot that there were destroyers in that game. It's like, oh yeah,
my
didn't you like average like
I
negative
killed
1 plasma inceptor a turn?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I wounded 1 and killed 1. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yep, it's healed and comes back.
Yep, and another one. Dang it.
That was with the strat too.
Excellent. See, false sense of security, folks.
I don't know. The shooting destroyers are awful.
They're pretty bad. That is like horrendously bad.
Even if they kept the old strat, I still think they wouldn't be good. But at least they'd be slightly more efficient for their points.
Yeah, I'm actually just content with destroyers not being good. They were like the OP, like spam this unit for Necron's unit. I'm just okay with Necrons looking different at this point. So
I'd like them to have some viable shooting.
I mean, yeah, I would be.
Using warriors.
You got the Silent Guy. What I'm actually sad about is that I feel like all of the core changes have made a lot of vehicles worse. And like I understand that like the triple executioner build was dumb, but I feel like they could have done things where like the 5-up invuln granted by Ferris is for core, but a captain still makes a tank shoot a little better. Just because right now it feels like there's so many units where I'm like, wow, this is just so much worse. I mean, that's in the newer codexes especially.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, for Necrons especially, they didn't get anything to interact with destroyer cults.
Yep.
Or they got some things to work with Canoptic, which is why Canoptic is quite a bit better.
Yep. That's a fair point right there.
The vehicles need extra things to be good. Like the Ghost Ark is good because it has great defense, has very good strat support.
All right, the Ghost Ark has perfectly average defense that you would literally just refuse to roll that on.
Transhuman 4-up invuln is good defense.
I know, but you survived like ungodly amounts of
I died in the last game I played.
As you should have.
No, not on average.
Whatever.
I failed almost every single. It came back around, but in one point.
Yeah.
John was waiting for that moment.
I was. It's taken several tries for this thing to just actually die. It took like an entire AdVec shooting phase. I'm like, well,
yep.
Okay.
And then John was like, I'm not wasting any more time on this.
Yeah, I tried. And it's like, whatever, this thing can just last.
I love the Ghost.
I think it was still there on turn 5.
It was.
Like, I think I was like, there's a point where I was
kept
shooting.
healing.
Yeah.
That's
right, because I kept shooting it in combat with the stupid Dune Stalkers.
And I just made the saves.
Every time. It's infuriating. It's like, why is this happening? No one likes Ghost Arks.
I love the Ghost Ark.
No one likes Ghost Arks.
The game where the plasma sites... Oh, yeah, the plasma site killed the Scorpack destroyers.
False sense of security. Every time we took one, just...
Every time
it's the Tyranid game and the Ultramarine game, you just grab the... Little plasma site walks up, grabs the Scorpion, and just pitches him off the board. It's like, he's gone.
It's like, I would have really liked that extra, like, 6 attacks.
Yeah, you got 2 extra attacks instead of 6 extra attacks, though. Good job.
Amazing.
I'm really happy. I heard maniacal laughter and assumed I was the butt of the joke, but
no,
it's the plasma side.
It's the plasma
great.
No, we never make fun of Nick on this channel.
No.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Never seen it. What's everyone working on?
We are painting some stuff for
we were both getting ready for the Worm game.
You washing?
No, that's a base coat.
Oh.
That's what a second layer is, Nick. Nick doesn't do the layers.
What's the point of layers?
That's how you get the Harlequin army done.
That was low.
Maniacal laughter time. Mortifiers, Taraxi, other admic units that get made up every time I play against Siegler.
That's how I feel every time I shoot me. Well, the Eradication Transonic Erastus gun.
I think he's thinking of the Transuranic Arquebus.
The Transuranic Arquebus. Yeah. I have 6 of the snipers.
Excellent.
Yeah, I actually noticed that. I'm like, wow, this is really unfortunate.
It only takes 2 to kill a Demon Prince.
That's what exploding 6 is.
Don't listen to what anyone else says.
Mark was like...
I took 6 of them in my one game with Admech. I couldn't kill a sorcerer.
That was the one time where Mark was like, you know, I really expect to have a Demon Prince there. And it's like, Mark expected average at that moment. No other moment in the history of this channel but that moment.
That shouldn't have happened.
7 wound, you would just gone.
Beautiful.
No.
He was like, I was expecting those 8 Death of the False Emperor attacks and melee to finish these pretty soft.
Yeah.
I've had like a 7-month-long argument with Mark about whether or not you should just reroll all of your hit rolls when you're just triggering Death of the False Emperors on 6s. And it's like, it doesn't matter, because, like mathematically, because the number of 6s you roll equals the number of 1s you roll, theoretically, and the 1s will miss, the 6s will explode. Mm-hmm. But then there's the chance that the explosions still miss, because they are not auto-free hits like the newer versions. They are still attacks. Okay. So you shouldn't, just stick with what you got on the rerolls everything versus just rerolling your 1s to miss. But Mark is
adamant.
Yes.
He's like, no, it's at least one time I rerolled it. It was better.
Mark he rolled 10 dice right in front of me, rerolled all of it, and got 11 hits. It's like, okay, Mark.
My favorite is Abaddon, where he's like, all right, 20 wounds. I'm like, what is going on here?
Every time.
It's like, you have 6 attacks, bro.
I still don't even know how that happens.
25-minute lunch, you pain and I'll eat. Thanks for the Grey Knight game yesterday, Richard. Get some AP in that list. I mean, Grey Knights don't have a ton of
options
for it, for shooting, that is. For melee, I can take other options, but the problem wasn't the melee. It was, Grey Knights are primarily a shooting army. Mm-hmm. They have some of the best shooting in the game. So, it's just taking a couple more side cannons, frankly.
Do you think working on the mortal wound output just to have more, ways to get around a higher armor save would help?
Yeah, you can go for you either go that direction, either just adding more side cannons, which is less of a change overall. Yeah. It's just kind of shifting points around. If you want to go for more mortals, I think you get the Brother Captain in there to double the range. Now, to be fair, I totally forgot about the D6 smites on the Purifiers, which would have absolutely helped throughout that game.
Would not have made the game worse.
But it is still very short range if you don't have the Brother Captain nearby. Mm-hmm. So I think... and I tested the Brother Captain last time and liked him against both the Necrons and the Demons. So maybe I just bring him back.
If only you could upgrade a Brother Captain to a Chapter Master.
That would be great, but it would really be upgrading a Grandmaster.
Oh, I don't know it.
Yeah, the Grandmaster is the Captain equivalent. The Brother
Captain.
What is
a Captain?
What?
The Brother Captain is not the Captain equivalent?
Not really, it's a Grandmaster.
That upsets me.
The Grandmaster gives the reroll ones.
Interesting. I don't know Grey Knights.
And then Drago's the Supreme Grandmaster, so that's the full rerolls.
I mean, of course, he's the Supreme Grandmaster.
And Nick gets to call me Supreme Grandmaster next time.
He does. The joy of dice bets, folks. Alright, let's see what we got here.
How y'all doing today, says Matt? Oh, we are doing excellent. We are prepping up for Thursday's games, which is back-to-back. We're playing first on... Is it first on YouTube?
First game is on YouTube, and that's going to be Nick Nanavati's Asyriani into Mark Perry's World Eaters.
And both of those armies got pretty significant changes with the points. It wasn't major points changes, but it was a couple points per model, which really does add up.
All of it adds up, yeah.
And so Mark is super excited about those Raptors and Orc Talons. And Nick is very excited for all the things Eldar can do.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially those Dire Avengers. He had run...
Who isn't excited for Dire Avengers, right?
Yeah, he... what's that?
Who isn't excited about Dire Avengers?
I'm excited. I like Dire Avengers. But Nick had run them for many months at the beginning of 9th edition. They fell away.
A little bit.
With that points decrease, 3 points per model, that's massive.
Yeah, that right there. That's the kind
That's an actual point.
That's what dreams are made of. I understand why the Imperium didn't get any of those buffs, but I was still a little jealous.
And then the following week, we get to see Tyranids versus Tau, a classic matchup on this channel. Gosh. We haven't seen it in a long, long time.
I'm so ready
for
this.
But I am busting out Farsight himself, possibly the Taunar.
Possibly the Taunar?
Possibly the 1,000-point Taunar.
Possibly the Taunar?
It shoots a lot more than it did previously.
Nick would never have a chance. We got to be fair and sporting here.
We got to be fair and sporting?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Tau roster and you're like, this is not very good. But Tau did benefit from the Bring It Down change because Piranhas and Tetras don't give up 2 points per model now.
That part is kind of nice.
Which is a big deal.
That's a very big deal.
And so I'm going to run even more of them.
When in doubt, right? If you got a good unit, spam it.
The high-intensity marker light was also split up, so now you can split fire with those marker lights, which is really nice.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Was that a change in the Imperial Armor?
Yes, Imperial Armor change.
Very nice.
They also went down 5 points a model.
Hey, there you go. See, talk about a buff focus. That would be enough.
Small stuff. Now, Commander's going up 10 points a model did not help.
No.
Like,
That did not help at all.
the Devilfish went down to 90, though, with SMS.
You know, we're actually like slowly getting to the point where you might take a Devilfish.
I think
well,
I
don't think
I take one.
Take one? Interesting.
I think because being able to put it behind a ruin, bring breachers in and out of it,
yeah,
I think is actually pretty useful. Or just drop a breacher bomb on the middle of the table and then, a bunch of them pop out.
The return of the Devilfish.
What I like to do, which is put all the 2-man drone units in there and then drop it on an objective, and then like 8 units pop out.
Gosh darn it. On the other hand, rolling ones to see if drones die is the literal only way to kill Siegler's drones. So we got that going for us.
You guys thinking of putting more long-range anti-tank in your list with the change to bring it down? Not intentionally long-range anti-tank, just more weapons that do damage against tanks and particularly do damage also against Death Guard.
Yes.
So like 3 damage is really the sweet spot now.
3 damage is it's a much better place to be. 4 damage if you can afford it.
Not many factions can. Or 6 damage if you're a king, a literal king.
Get out of here.
And god. Like the Silent King.
Absolutely not. Utterly unacceptable.
John loves the Miniers.
Literally just
favorite models in the game.
Gonna kill them turn 1 the next time we play. Swear to goodness, Siegs. Knock you down.
But overall, like, we don't expect people to run, like, 20 vehicle models in a list.
Nah.
That's probably excessive. But that sweet spot where it's like, 10 or so.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
8 to 12, I think we'll see pretty commonly.
Absolutely.
And that's still not really enough to choose bring it down reliably, but it's not where it's a horrible choice.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad at that point. Wouldn't mind it. Let me see what we need here.
But it's not like all of a sudden like guard tank lists are going to be meta.
No, as much as I wish that were the case.
There's still limitations there. Like there's
Yeah.
tons of OPSEC all over the game right now,
100%.
and you have to be able to contest objectives.
Yep. That's very, very real.
Which is why John's such a big fan of hoping Knights get an OPSEC trade or
I really am. I
related
just
to
keep
OPSEC.
saying that out loud until eventually Games Workshop makes it happen. Please, GW. Please help. Let this happen.
What do you think of a dynamic insertion character with inner fire to snipe out a weakened unit, or a character after the Grey Knight shooting causes holes in the screens? Isn't inner fire you have to be within an inch to do it?
Inner fire, yes, but I recall that there's a 1 CP stratagem or a relic or something that gives you plus 6 inches to the range of a spell.
Okay, so you're spending the CP on that.
Yeah, you got to at that point. That happened to me once. I had like a leadership 11, like Grandmaster on foot, like dynamically insert and just do that, and I denied it.
Yeah.
I was playing Tyranids at the time, so I was like, alright, Shadows of the Warp, Chrono, spell, deny. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, yeah, like this.
Then the Grey Knight player has to use the roll 3D, the roll 3 dice and pick the 2
Chrono, yeah, it's rolling additional dice, actually. It's not 3d6, it's rolling additional dice. And the Chronos thing makes you roll 1 dice. So they rolled 2 dice, take the highest, so it was like a 5.
Yeah.
Plus 1 and minus 1 offset. I'm like, yeah.
Now, are you trying to go into Chronos Tyranids? Not really. I think
Probably
Grey
not.
Knights just shred them.
And also, like, Chronos Tyranids aren't real. Like, how often are you seeing this come up?
But, yeah, that could work. What I would really like is if Lore Master let you pick from either discipline, so you could get both Vortex and Inner Fire. That would make it worth it. With it, spending the strat and doing both of those.
That'd be pretty dope.
I would like that a lot, but you unfortunately can't take from a different discipline.
Well, couldn't it... Really? You can't use Lore Master... You can't take from the Imperius?
In the FAQ, they ruled you have to pick from the discipline you chose originally.
Damn.
Yeah, they made it very restrictive, unfortunately.
Wow, that's so much worse than Tome of Macador. Glad they did that for you.
Yeah, so... If you could combine both Vortex and Inner Fire, I think that'd be really worth it. But really, I don't want to... Characters are so expensive in Grey Knights. I don't want to sacrifice one.
You don't want to just hand me 5 up where the witch... Or 3.
Yeah,
that's true.
But still, it's a 100+ point character. That could have been a whole nother unit.
Yep, that's the thing.
So, generally, I've gone very minimal on the characters as much as possible. I'm even thinking of just dropping the Apothecary, frankly.
Spicy man right there.
Well, he's not the...
I know, he's not the Apothecary, but...
He's an Apothecary for 80 points that I could... That would be getting more Psy Cannons into my list.
More Psy Cannons.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable.
What armies do you find are most affected by the secondary changes?
I feel like it is Sisters. I feel like it's Sisters. Sisters used to really rely on While We Stand, We Fight, and some of their lists would very easily give up Bring It Down. You're going to build Crow?
I'm going to build Castle and Crow because...
Oh my god.
We also need GSC into Grey Knights at a future time where GSC can actually put up a fight against Grey Knights.
Put up a fight against Grey Knights, I can do that.
You think?
Nope.
I feel like the one spot just can pick up so many Ridge Runners too quickly.
Oh, well, Ridge Runners are not really meta for Gene Circle anymore.
Oh, no? You don't
think? The meta around them has just not gotten...
This babe.
God.
Look at baby base.
Look at this 25mm. This man's the size of a servitor. Honest to God. It's Castle and Crow time, baby.
Where are those? Thank you.
Glue is there.
Yep.
There you go. All the stuff.
But Nick happened to play against Castle and Crow with GSC many moons ago, and Castle and Crow apparently picked up a whole unit of Aberrants.
Is it somehow possible?
Now he had to fight on death as well.
Yeah, still, that's insanity.
Because it's a no AP sword. He has a demon sword that he intentionally
doesn't use.
No
AP against Gene's Circle is actually pretty decent.
It's the only place that it is.
Yes. I think demons. He'd be good against demons.
He is good against... Well, it is Grey Knights after all.
It is Grey Knights.
If they're good against one thing, it should be demons.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Actually, these mortifiers are closer to done than I'd realized. This is good. This is very good.
Which ones are least affected? Frankly...
Space Marines?
Yes. Well...
I mean, Space Marines weren't really doing...
While We Stand was a nice option for Marines in certain matchups. Yeah. Where the other opponent didn't give up secondaries. And you were just like, I'll protect the characters at the end of the game, but...
Yeah, I suppose that was nice.
It wasn't a massive change, though.
Mm-hmm.
Necrons don't really care about them, frankly. Because still, I don't think the vehicle builds are that great, even with Fall Back and Shoot as a custom trait.
Yeah.
It's just the vehicles that are good have D6 shots. You need to hit wound without rerolls, and then D6 damage.
Yeah. A lot of the Necron vehicles stayed at D6 damage, where some other factions got D3 plus 3.
Every other faction?
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, sucks for you.
So that's just why I'm not a huge fan of them.
When you put it that way, it's almost reasonable.
It's just too many rolls. It's too inconsistent.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, unfortunately. You need some kind of rerolls to hit built in. My Will Be Done something along those lines, and Necrons just don't really provide rerolls to all of their units, which is an unfortunate reality. I think we should ask Nick who is... Oh, alright, first of all, I think we need to start bringing in some more character battles here. So this is just me. We talked about this the last time I was on the paint stream. I like character showdowns. I want to see, Fate Weaver versus the Silent King.
Yes.
I was actually going to say the Nightbringer, but...
The literal hardest counter in the game.
Yeah, I mean, come on, does Nick know that?
You get no involves.
Let's not pretend Nick knows this. We can make this happen.
He's strength 14 too, so he wins on 2s.
Yeah, I know what happens. I know what happens here.
It is D6 damage.
Well, let's see what happens.
But honestly, yeah, it's going to be brutal.
That'd be pretty fun. Me personally, I want to see that. Is that
Fate Weaver?
Fate Weaver?
We're never going to see Fate Weaver.
No. We'll try to convince Mr. Nikhil to bring in the lovely Fate Weaver.
It's supposed to be his favorite model.
He does keep saying those words.
I just don't believe it.
Not in the slightest. He did bring his classic old Fate Weaver model up.
As a Demon Prince.
As a Demon Prince. I seem to recall it getting ganged up on by Repentia. Pretty sure that's what happened.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, went pretty well. I think the Demon Prince, to be fair, actually ran up and killed the Triumph somehow.
Yeah, he did.
Because he auto-switched to Death Hex past it, and then I just failed all my denies. Which wasn't the best thing that could have happened.
He did deny Magnus's warp time.
Did deny Magnus's warp time, though, so I don't really ever have to complain. If I was going to hit one, that would have been the choice.
Isn't denying Magnus so satisfying?
It is. It is incredibly satisfying.
Oh, random Farsight commander? Yeah, denied.
Denied. It's shutting off warp time is just oof. Magnus sitting in the middle of nowhere? Oh no. What will we do now?
460 point model.
It's just out of charge range. Do love killing Magnus. Do you have the models to run the Mortifier spam? Have never actually seen it in action. Oh, Matt O. As a matter of fact, I do. These 3 mortifiers that we are doing right now, this is mortifier number 8, 9, and 10. And then mortifier 11 and 12 are right here in slightly less stages of painted, but slowly getting there. So we are 100% able to do mortifier spam. I'm going to be playing 9 of them, which isn't the full spam. 9 mortifiers tomorrow in the war room.
Yeah.
Nick,
Mr. Siegs.
if you were to set up a character battle in one of our games, any characters in the game, who would it be?
That's a good question.
Because I really want to set up like Helbrecht into Ematech. That's kind of what I want to do, or Yarrick into Gaz.
No, it's got to be much better than that.
Okay.
I'm thinking
of the lore.
Fate Weaver versus Farsight.
Okay. You don't want it to be like Fate Weaver versus like a Necron character?
I think Farsight is pretty close to Siegs' heart. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think, Siegs?
I mean, I will laugh when a 130-point character destroys Fate Weaver.
Okay.
All right.
Versus Farsight. It's happening.
Alright, throw out the Tyranids, Nick.
Throwing out the Tyranids, you don't tell me twice. You have demons on the channel. It's like Blade Drone spam. I got cheaper. We have like 40 of them. I
Alright,
should show
would you play Fate Weaver against the town?
Yeah.
Yeah. Siegler, do you want to do that instead of Tyranids?
If Nick prefers that.
We're doing that.
We're doing that instead. Fate Weaver on the channel, folks? We're making it
Fate
happen.
Weaver's
We're making this the art of war.
Siegs is going to lose to Fate Weaver, and I am going to be so happy.
Nick is going to take nothing but the absolute best set of demons around him, and I'm going to get run over.
Hell yeah, you're running the town war. You deserve it.
I'm not going to run the town war against that.
Oh, no, he's not going to run the town war. I'm just changing the whole matchup now.
I mean, if you want me to run into demons,
Here, let
I'm
me
still
change-
good into demons.
I mean, you running a town war just means I must run 200 body Tyranids, because anything of
What if we
substance
just
will
both
instantly
write
die.
what we consider to be balance lists? With the Fate Weaver. Nick has a headache here. I understand.
Balance lists,
No,
town
no.
war cannot compute, does not equal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm happy to do it however you want, Siegs.
I just want to see Fate Weaver.
I want to see Fate Weaver too.
And I want to see him into Farsight.
Here's your favorite.
He's my favorite.
Castle and Crow. No.
Castle and Crow coming out to play.
I have such a Crow story. We don't have time to go into it.
we told them the highlight.
The highlight. What was the highlight?
Castle and Crow
Castle
kills
and Crow
all
fought
you.
on death and killed Abra.
It was such a better story than that. There was like 5 CPs spent. It was beautiful.
Alright, well, do you want to tell us the story?
Nah, I gotta go. I gotta do clinic. I have to stop
Aw.
again.
Well,
I would
we-
love to tell you a story. Maybe the next fake stream.
Alright. Next Monday, folks, Nick on the Pain stream talking about why his Jinchler cult lost to Castle and Crow. They actually beat them, but why they lost to Castle and Crow.
They lost morally. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's okay.
It was a dark day.
The Gene Circle were not fearless after that.
John wants to do GSC into Grey Knights.
I do not. I do not. I don't want to.
I think he does. He doesn't even think Grey Knights are good. That's true.
I wrote a Grey Knight list the other day. I thought they were very good.
I will say I was actually impressed with the White Scars.
Still?
I know I've talked to
The undefeated White Scars were
the Grey Knights
impressive.
were also undefeated. If you hadn't noticed, this was
No, they lost games on channel.
Yeah, they lost
not
to
since
Mark's
you
World Leaders.
figured out not to run Dread Knights.
I wasn't running Dread Knights then.
He lost in the RTT to Mark's World Leaders.
It's a different time. It really was.
It
Yeah,
was.
I mean, it was. But still, they
The
they weren't
pre-codex.
undefeated.
Yeah, White Scars have lost on our channel too. I've beaten it with Death Guard.
That was a different codex.
Oh, it's a different time. Who would have thought? See how the arguments just crumble.
Crow has his banner over. He's the Knight of the Flame.
Knight of the Flame. This is a cool back banner.
I miss those back banners.
Me too. I wish I could. Like, I still have a bunch of them that I just don't put on my sergeants because why on God's green earth would you?
Do what?
Put a back banner on a sergeant in a Space Marine squad?
Oh, that is so 2004.
Question from
I want
Jeremy. What was the experience like designing and building your own terrain sets? Who had the most fun? Was it hard to decide on what you wanted?
I personally had very little input in my terrain set. I just showed them a picture of a Nova table. I was like, you do you. And I'm really happy with it.
John and I both had more input than that.
That is
so, for me, when I was designing the PTT format,
Yep.
basically Bear wanted us to pick an event that we had won before, or at least our name was associated with. So
That was the only
That was
event
the-
I haven't won.
that was the original. Well, it was the Invitational. but because they use the same terrain.
Yeah.
But it was trying to like put a face to the name
Yeah.
of that tournament circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So I did Pro Tabletop since that was
A recent conquest of yours at the time?
Yep. And what I wanted was try and make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible, because that was the biggest and really the only downside of Pro Tabletop, personally, was that
It looked like two-dimensional terrain.
it was two-dimensional terrain.
Yep.
Overall. It was just kind of very basic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have a good-looking theme to that, and I think they nailed it.
Huh?
And
I'm really happy with the Big Bear stuff.
Big Bear has a relationship with a particular 3D terrain designer,
Mhm.
and I got to choose from a lot of different pieces. So I actually got to pick, like, I really like these and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I really enjoyed going through those different pieces, as you mentioned. Specifically with mine, I was trying to go with like a sci-fi outpost was kind of the goal. I wanted like all of my different, because I play a lot of Imperium armies, and then I play Gene Circle and like Tyranids. So I was like really wanting something that all my armies would work on.
Mhm.
So I was thinking like an Imperium like scientific and research outpost. So like we went with like a very like kind of like research on Mars kind of look, where we could totally see like them studying a xenoform, or like, you know, Space Marines defending this outpost.
Yeah.
You know, from, you know, whatever I would be playing against.
Yeah,
So
and
I
then-
really had a good time
I
with
love
that.
the way your terrain is painted.
That
I
was
really
me.
like the paint
That was
scheme.
me.
Wow.
What do you mean that was...
Sieg's
I
painted terrain.
said I
Sieg's
want a
painted
Mass
terrain.
Effect terrain, and then I told Cuck exactly what to do.
John, you did a great job picking the paint scheme.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I picked the paint scheme.
Okay.
I'm getting credit for that paint scheme, because that is Mass Effect, and I
All
love
right.
Mass Effect so much. One of the greatest games of all time.
I'm really glad you took inspiration from Mass Effect for that paint scheme, John. That was true.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, I have a great
So.
experience playing that on the video game. Mass Effect is fun.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite games, personally. I love the colors.
You guys are just amateurs in sci-fi video games. Amateurs.
It's way too easy.
I can't even. I have to stop.
I'm sure there's a lot of Mass Effect fans in chat, but you guys are missing out.
That's the point here.
That is the point.
Let me know if you need help, Nick.
Piss. I set everything up. Should all be good.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm not questioning you. I showed him how to do it all twice. Last night we were recording a podcast, and I had to come over and unmute Mr. Nick Notavati's volume button.
Oh, Nick.
Oh, Nick. Oh, yes. That's what
Ted-
I'm here for, folks.
Pesky work meetings. We need some live closed captioning so I can read what you guys are saying.
Ah.
I don't think YouTube has the advanced enough closed captioning to fit.
It'd probably mess up all of the 40K terms. That
Yeah.
might be amusing, though.
I mean, it would be amusing. It
Mhm.
wouldn't be accurate in the
Not at
slightest.
all. Margaret Thatcher can only take 4 wounds per phase. Huh?
I hate that the nickname Morty can be used for multiple models. I hate to play against. Well, with him getting 4 Warlord trades T8, it seems
Yeah.
like he's been busted.
See,
significantly.
Morty is Mortarian. These are Morts. There's no Y in this.
Yeah.
The Y is my opponent screaming.
Yep.
Why?
Why do you have so
more
many?
more dice? Just more dice.
Yeah, Morty is definitely Mortarian.
Yeah, 100%.
Is
Screw
there
that
any
guy.
other Mortarian character in the game?
No, I think it's Mortarian and Mortifiers. I mean, we have the same problem with Grots and Grotesques.
Oh, yes.
Where like there's a very small window where actually both of those armies
Grots
good.
are really Gretchen.
Yeah. You call them. I call them Grots.
Aren't Grots a specific part of the hierarchy of Gretchen?
I think so, but I'm not entirely positive. I don't know orcs very well. I just complain about them, and I don't rate them highly in faction videos. Those are my interactions with orcs. But I'm going to be playing against orcs next week, so you guys and girls can look forward to that.
Oh, it's a shame we missed Andreas' question
Oh, what was that?
when Nick was here. How was it to sleep next to the Townar? It's still in
it's
his room because
ongoing.
Nick has spent 2 nights that weren't in his room.
Yep.
So it's still going.
Mhm.
It's up there.
This lives in infamy.
I check every night, make sure he doesn't cover it up with clothes or anything.
As you should. You can't trust Nick. He's the deceiver.
Did you guys try and play in the Gibraltar tour? The one on the boat?
Why I'm
I
not
think there was
aware that
40k Cruise, but Cruise Hammer last year.
I wasn't aware that this was a thing.
We have not. I think some other community figures did it. I think Reese even.
Oh,
Tried
that
to
sounds
do it.
very fun.
But no, we haven't been thinking about any tournaments really.
No, I'm
Nothing-
pretty content.
Nothing where there's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah.
Certainly.
We've gotten to that point where I'm content being inside my little house for a while.
Yeah. As soon as everybody gets vaccinated and
Ooh.
things start to
Please. Don't get my hopes up
get
there,
back to
Six.
yeah. I mean, it's going to take a while.
ATC, maybe July?
but I'd
Maybe?
really love for ATC.
That would be the goal. That would be the one that would drag me out.
Have they said anything at all?
I have heard no updates regarding ATC. But of course, the second I know, we'll get the team back together, make this happen.
Yeah. We went undefeated. We're not able to finish first just because we had the hardest during the schedule by a mile. And it's like, oh, we're going to play all of the top 6 teams at the event? Excellent.
Yeah.
Starting with Beast Coast with Andrew Gagno's team round 1.
Yeah, I think the first 2 rounds we played Beast Coast 1 and 2 on random pairings. And I'm like, what? Like, how is this real?
Yep.
Day 2, Beast Coast 3.
Yep.
Son of a... that was a weekend to remember, though.
Yeah.
That's all right. When ATC comes back, it'll be better than ever. I feel like that's going to be that way for all the tournament scene.
Jeremy with the jokes. Thanks for picking the Mass Effect paint scheme, John.
Yeah. You're welcome, folks. It's a public service.
But that was painted by John Kay
Mhm.
from Tampa, who does beautiful work. If you've seen some of my AdMech stuff, he painted the drills and a good amount of the tanks. So
A very talented artist.
very, very good artist. And yeah, he also painted the town art.
Yeah. I like him less already.
You love John.
I do. I do. I can't deny it.
But I am excited for Nick having to play against Tau. It's been so long,
It has.
and I think he's just forgotten.
I think he has.
I think he's forgotten about the
But I'm excited for this now.
tricks.
Ooh, the Tau tricks.
I'm bringing Farsight himself.
I mean, do you think you could kill Fate Weaver with like the Crisis Bodyguard? Or are you gonna go for Farsight himself?
I need text.
I'm gonna whittle him down and then have Farsight guarantee kill.
All right, I'm coming, Nick.
Farsight's strength 8.
I'll be back.
Bacon doesn't care.
He does.
I'll be back, folks.
I gotta take care of it.
All right. Nick classically needs help with technology, even though he's received help for the entire day. But we will find out. What I'm going to work on next is continue working on my Necrons and bringing them up to my standard. Mark Perry did a really great job of just getting the base coats on there, but I want to do the bright red scheme that I have on the Silent King and all my elite models. Now I'm going back through all the warriors and some of the characters I don't use as much. So let's go ahead and grab the green paints, which... where is... Dark Angel's Gray, I think. Nope, Caliban Green. Perfect. Mark went for a very, very light green as the entire weapon. I prefer having the light green as the highlight color. Alright. Anybody working on some cool hobby projects in the meanwhile? I know most people typically paint during these, or they're listening during work or a lunch break. So, whatever you're doing, I'm interested to hear what's going on. The legendary Chronomancer who killed a Vexillus Praetor in one go. Proud of you. The Chronomancers have not done much damage in most of my stream games, but every once in a while they will actually kill something. You'd expect a Strength 8 AP3 D3 plus 3 damage weapon to do a little bit more than it's done, but one shot with no rerolls is not the best. What's your thoughts on the Psychomancer with the Flayed Ones? If I was running Flayed Ones, I would run a Psychomancer. And I would put the Warlord trait for extra range on his aura on the Psychomancer, because it can get extremely brutal for opponents, even Marines, trying to take morale tests, especially because Marines lost their ability to reroll the morale tests, other than using a CP, of course. So I think I would actually, if I wanted to start running Flayed Ones, I would run the Psychomancer to help them out. And that probably works best in a custom Dynasty list. That or pure Novak. Mainly because the Flayed Ones don't benefit at all from the Silent King. I'd rather just run Warriors and Lich Guard to help the Silent King instead of Flayed Ones. But if I was running pure Novak, no Silent King, or the custom Dynasty with Flayed Ones, I think I would throw the Psychomancer in there. I just wish the timing of his ability was not absolutely awful. I don't understand why it's in the morale phase. How did they playtest that and think that that was actually good? It should be in the movement phase like almost every other ability, or the command phase. Because the command phase is a little more restrictive because you don't get a movement phase to kind of, adjust to the game state. But it still would have been better than the morale phase. Because the Psychomancer, then you give him the Add a Vindicator, I believe it's called. So not only is he doing targeted smites, but he also has this utility power on his datasheet. I would actually really like him at that point. But the timing of his ability really holds me back. And then my builds don't really benefit as much from Flayed Ones, other than being like 5-man mission playing tool. But even then, I'm starting to like Ophidian Destroyers a little bit more. Just because they hit harder, they have the extra AP that I really want, and they have the late game strat. Because you've seen it, Marines are running so many infiltrators now, it's really hard to get into their deployment zone. And that's what you're trying to do turn 5. Get into their deployment zone. So that's the stratagem that they have. You bring the Ophidians up turn 4, turn 5 they get in there, and because they're infantry, they go ahead and finish Scramblers. Because Marines still don't give up any secondaries, unfortunately. Painting ever more sisters. Which models are you working on? And then Andreas is painting the heavy destroyers. Oh, I wish the heavy destroyers were better. It's just... They needed either to be 2 shots, like the updated multi-meltas, if they wanted to keep the same profile, or just reduce the damage so it's not 3d3, which is a little bit excessive at times, and made it like flat 3 or 4 damage, and just gave it more shots, like 4 shots. I played the Zerikin Dynasty with single heavy destroyers, found the Chronomancer shot good, with the free reroll wounds. Yeah, I could see it there. They need something to make them a little more efficient, because at the end of the day, they're not that cheap. 80 points is still pretty pricey for a character that doesn't do any real damage. So, Zerikin certainly helps. Are you taking a Zerikin Technomancer to heal the Silent King then? Because if you're running a Silent King build, I would definitely take a Technomancer to do the healing on him. Immolators, a great model, but good lord, so many things to paint. Yeah, Sisters are a gorgeous model line, but so much detail on them. I have a Sisters army myself, but I am having it painted by the guy I mentioned earlier, John Kay. So he's actually working on them right now, and I'll eventually have them on stream. They will be by far the best looking Sisters army on this stream, guaranteed. Alright. Chronomancer, got the base coats. Siegs, was there an army you always wanted to deep dive into but just not have gotten around to it? I had a GSC Tyranids army at one point, and I gave the Tyranids to Nick, and then I gave the GSC to John, just because I was just never going to play them at this point. So I do like GSC as a playstyle. They're a really high skill cap finesse army, which I like, and they have tons of tricks, and they also have multiple play styles built into the book, or at least they did in 8th edition. So I always found them fascinating. That's probably the army I would pick, because I pretty much play all the Imperium armies, and I like most of the Xenos armies. Orcs is the one that I have never really played, and the model count is just daunting, and their aesthetic overall is not really my preferred one. Like I really like Necrons a lot, and I like them in 8th edition. I just didn't like the playstyle that they had, which is take a bunch of vehicles and destroyers and hopefully you table your opponent. I just didn't like that. And hope your planes do a ton of mortal wounds to your opponent. The playstyle that they have in 9th edition is exactly what I like. Very durable, lots of movement tricks, and both good in melee and shooting. It's a very well-balanced army. Would you have thought Sieg's terrain would look like a StarCraft 2 map? I mean, I am down for buying several of those marine bunkers and creating a Terran map. I have wanted to do that. I just want to prioritize actually building finish building the Necron collection up, and then I might actually just do that. Because I think it would look sick. I'll probably grab the GSC drill terrain piece too, and play around with that. But I think there's a lot of cool stuff we could do with terrain. But the Marine bunker is basically a StarCraft bunker. They couldn't have been more obvious with that inspiration. And as you know, I am a huge fan of the Terran faction in StarCraft. Chronomancer. Just played a friendly match 2. Try the Reanimator and the Void Dragon and the Heavy Destroyers. See, I just am not a massive fan of the Catan. I think it's too easy for the good list to play around them. I don't think they do anything whatsoever in the Necron Mirror matchups. Like, into my Silent King build, I just drown them in Warriors and slowly whittle them down, which I will do within the first 3 turns. So, I just don't really think that they're very good for their points. Especially because it's a Warrior brick plus, like, a Chronomancer, and that's cheaper than something like the Nightbringer. That's just silly. Heavy Destroyers could be viable if they just switched the weapon profile and made it a little more volume of fire.
Back.
I just... One shot is without reroll wounds. Now, that's why you run Zerikin, but I'd rather still be running Novak. I think it's the best faction for Necrons overall.
I'm going to crush the forces of Novak with my new Black Templar OP-ness.
Black Templars?
Yes.
Go ahead and devout push into me, John.
I will, 100%. With literally zero hesitation.
Okay.
You think I won't?
I mean, I think Lich Guard will just pick it up.
I'm not going to devout push into the Lich Guard.
You should.
The Lich Guard actually get a full charge, so that I get Shock Assault. Everything else is okay. Alright. The Mortifiers for tomorrow's game are, like, so close to being done. And then we get them finished on this paint stream, which is just wonderful. Because it means that I don't have to do that this afternoon. What do you have left to paint for tomorrow's stream? Hey, are you working on just some Necrons now?
Yeah, just going back to the highlighting on the
Very
Necrons.
nice.
I should be all good for tomorrow's stream.
Excellent. Mortifiers are the last element.
What about the 5th element?
Ooh. Lulu?
See,
We should make Nick watch that movie.
I think he would like it.
I think he would.
It's great fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, we're under the assumption that Nick hasn't seen. When we bring up a movie...
I actually verified this one. Nick has not seen the 5th element.
Okay.
He has seen part of it. He's seen the middle part with the diva. He hasn't seen before or after that.
Chris Tucker is just amazing in that film. That might be his best role.
Yeah, there's so many good things.
Six, what's your most army fun to play? Not meta or efficient, but the most fun? Just like historically, or kind of
Right now.
in any moment. Right now that I have the most fun playing? I have a lot of fun playing Grey Knights.
Mm-hmm.
They have tools for...
Tools for every occasion?
Yeah, all sorts of different situations. And they're that army that's good in every phase. So it makes them, you can always kind of shift what direction you need them to do.
Yeah.
So I really do enjoy playing Grey Knights a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they got an index update so that they would have got their extra wounds, because it's kind of silly that Grey Knight Terminators are more expensive than Dark Angel Terminators.
I'm surprised Grey Knight Terminators didn't get cheaper. Because Chaos Space Marine Terminators getting 5 points cheaper but staying at 2 wounds totally makes sense.
They're 38 points a model.
Yes.
For the basic ones.
Chaos Space Marine Terminator is 28 points per model. And being a Psyker is not that much better.
No.
Although being Troops is nice.
Yeah. But it's not like... Is it 10 points nice? Because
yes.
the Dark Angels Terminators, which are the gold standard of Terminators right now...
They are.
It's
33 points a model.
It's not really close.
No, they're incredibly better than Grey Knight ones.
So, and I was hoping for some... If they weren't going to add the wounds up, I was hoping for, at least some points decreases.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Not to be, it seems. Not to be.
And There must be 3D prints of command centers and such out there. I will look for StarCraft prints, or if anybody knows them, send me a link. But people want a StarCraft terrain set, and I was like, I've been wanting to get the Marine bunker just to do that.
I would
get
be
like 4 of them.
Fully in favor of this, 100%.
And then paint it up like a Terran scheme. Probably do blue and white.
I always do my... I think of green as the Terran color because, 1, I always play Terran.
We can do green.
2, I just do everything green. Green doesn't really match our armies. Blue
and white stands out.
I do like blue and white
I know
on my Imperium, so I wouldn't argue with that. I think we could pull it
But it's
off.
one of the classic Terran schemes.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
I'm not going to suggest red because that's the Dominion, and we already have a lot of red stuff. So blue and white would stand out. The teal color, I was always a big fan of the teal color.
Yeah. You know what? We should reach out to Mr. Big
White
Bear.
and black as the UED.
Oh yeah. You can do a lot with that.
Yeah.
I'd be 100% down for a Terran themed map. I love me some StarCraft.
Finishing 6 Venatari and then putting together some guards. The Venatari are beautiful models, and I wish they came with actual stands. Because these are not stands to put models on.
I hate those so much. I just don't use those. Like,
They're
I know
awful.
you do
Well,
for your Traxi. I just... Cork bases, I build up something, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, my Zephyrim are on those bases. Because I just ran out of materials, so...
Yeah.
I try to avoid it when I can. That wasn't a
If I had the materials, I would just do it differently. Like you saw, I did it differently with some of the other stuff.
Yeah, I saw you had smoke trails on your Interceptor units. There's
Yeah.
good stuff. Huh. Protoss with the Zelmaga. Have cool terrain. Ooh. Zelmaga Tower is pretty dope.
Zelnaga towers would be quite cool.
That would be actually a really cool thing. Like, that would be a really good centerpiece.
I can see it.
That would be...
We can do a
get some
StarCraft.
nods up
Like,
there. Maybe the next time, maybe wait a couple more months. But next time we do a table, now that all 4 of us have a house table, get a StarCraft game.
I mean, once I finish all the Necron stuff, unless Games Workshop drops a new army that I need to build and paint
That's
on
true.
it, I could actually start doing the command centers
Mm-hmm.
at the very least, or the bunkers, the Marine bunker.
I do like Marine bunkers.
But yeah, that would be actually a ton of fun, and it would look great.
100%, that's the best part. Alright, I think...
Might actually get Nick to play StarCraft for once.
That's not true.
We almost got him.
We almost did. I think really it would need to be like Mark versus Nick.
Yeah.
And that would just be like...
I don't think that's fair to Mark, because...
I figured to offset it, it would be you coaching Mark, me coaching Nick.
Okay. Mark can't type, though. The man cannot. He does it one finger at a time.
Yeah.
That is not the actions per minute you're going to need to even do a reasonable job in StarCraft. Nick can actually type reasonably quickly.
Yeah.
Machacha, though. Machacha versus Nick.
Yeah, there we
Get
go.
behind that.
I could absolutely do that. Get Machacha 89 in there, 100%.
Yeah, because at least then I get to deal with the frustration of trying to coach Nick.
That's all I want. You don't understand.
Because John, I was trying to give him good advice, and I think I did give.
Yeah, you give good advice, and I try to adapt, and I don't implement it all at once. That's not realistic, but I try to improve things. I'm working on my hotkeys.
But Nick will just get frustrated and just ignore it.
Yes. That is the difference. I am patient when other people give me advice. I try to process it. It'd be fun to watch.
John and I were on a streak.
We were.
2v2.
We were. Gotta bust that out again. Maybe when maybe later tonight when I'm done painting up those Vipers for Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Nick needs 2 models painted for... I need 9 models for my game on Thursday. Nick needs 2 models for his on Thursday. I got all 9 of mine done. Nick's are untouched. So, I guess that means it's John.
It's John Boy. Pinning mine on court bases. Really easy and effective, yeah.
Pinning is the best. I'm all in favor of that.
But Venatari are pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how much I want to actually take them right now, which is weird because they got cheaper. It's just that the rest of the Custodes line has changed to the point where I don't want that kind of unit.
And Death Guard are coming.
And Death Guard are coming.
Damage is brutal.
Yeah, that's one of the big...
That is going to be so sad for a lot of 2 damage in the game.
Yes.
It's like, I can't really see myself taking you anymore. Sorry.
I mean, I think there's going to be plenty of 2 damage stuff that you still take, because the game is not just going to be Death Guard.
No, but
We
if
still
you're
need to
trying to
beat
win an
Marines.
event, you can't build only around.
Yeah,
most
I
of
think
them.
I think you can take 2 damage, but you need other stuff too. Like, I actually still am just fine with Plasma. Like, if you have cheap Plasma, like the way Guard does. Because frankly, the way I'm looking at this is just like, alright, it just takes 2 shots to put down a Plague right now.
No, but I feel bad about running 275 points of Plasma Inceptors to do 1 damage against them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 Plasma, or a full, like, 5-man Plasma Scepter with, like, a Captain Lieutenant, I think it would still kill, like, 2 Terminators a turn. You'd still get a decent amount of...
You get some damage done, but it's like, is that going to be enough against them? We'll see what they get. That's the thing.
That will matter a lot. How fast they are.
Yeah.
I know that they're getting
Getting
that pure doctrine, so there will maybe be less warp time. Maybe less warp time in the Death Guard. That would be pretty convenient. We'll see if that ends up being enough to persuade them to not run warp time. We can only hope, right?
Yeah.
I just cannot wait until the Chaos Space Marine Codex updates and warp time becomes Legion locked.
Also, I'm just glad that the flails are not going to be...
Death to False Emperor me
Yep,
anymore?
just
Yeah,
on 4s. With
What about Black Legion?
We're going to have to
Black
suffer for that a couple more times.
Black Legion, a couple more sufferings with Black Legion. Oh no. I'm not about it, folks. Not about it. Alright, I think these mortifiers are actually just done. This is a happy day, folks. 9 mortifiers... I'm sorry, 10 mortifiers are fully painted. 1 extra for the 9 that I'm running tomorrow. But we do have 11 and 12. So
what leagues are we in for StarCraft 2?
Ooh, wow. I think I'm in gold right now. I'm not very good at StarCraft. If anyone gets the impression otherwise, I apologize for deceiving you. I'm not great at StarCraft. Just keep saying that out loud until people believe me.
Yeah, but he's improving.
That is true. I'm
He's learning some good If you just put those like couple things that I mentioned into practice,
yeah.
constantly getting information on what your opponent's doing, making sure you're not scrolling across the map and you're using hotkeys.
Yeah. When I'm in practice, I'm usually
prioritizing macro over micro. If you just do those 3 things, you'll actually be platinum to low diamond.
Yeah. When I actually was in practice, but not really with Siegler stuff. Like when I was playing a lot early quarantine, I was in low platinum.
Yeah.
I bounced into high gold, got back into platinum, like that kind of area, which is like very passable.
Yeah.
It's not should stop in any shows, but it's passable. It's not fully embarrassed, but Siegler is definitely the better.
Yeah.
Are you in the league right now? Or
when I
not?
played in Heart of the Swarm, I got into Grandmaster, and then I was Masters pretty much the entirety of Legacy of the Void until like 2 years ago when I really stopped playing.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm still like low Masters.
Yeah. It's not a bad place to be.
I played like a random test game to test myself, and it was a Master Terran player, and then I beat him without any practice. So I was like, all right, so I still got it.
The machine does not dull.
I see Nick as a Michael Phelps or Tiger Woods, that if he puts his energy into something, he's great at it. I think he would be good at StarCraft. He doesn't have the attention span for StarCraft. He's good at particular things, but constant attention and needing to micromanage multiple things all at once,
Yeah.
not really his style. He can micromanage things, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think it would more be that Nick wouldn't go through the effort to be good at StarCraft, not that he's incapable of it.
No.
I'm sure he could be like just as good as me if he put the effort in.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think he's saying...
Beyond that point, yeah.
Well, he's saying Michael Phelps or Tiger Woods.
But that's true. No,
It's
no,
like
no.
God
No.
at this thing. No. But he could be decent. We could coach him up to a solid level.
That's all I want to do.
But it's the regular... To be good at StarCraft, you need regular practice,
Yeah,
really.
that's
you
where I
can
suffered.
If you master the mechanics, you can be like top, 5 to 8% of the, always of the ladder. Like I haven't played regularly, but I can still have the basic mechanics to
Yeah,
be
of
good.
course.
I don't know the specific builds of this meta, but I can figure it out. To get to that level, you really need to you need a lot of practice to get there and get comfortable moving that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause John will be there with his, what is it, like on average 50 APM?
We're getting there.
Yeah, it's like
It's low.
30 to 40. And then I'm up there with like 220, 230, 250.
Yeah, I know.
The games.
I noticed. I'm a slow typist.
Curious when Heavy Intercessors will come out and how they will change lists. They're going to change Deathwatch. They benefit the most from Deathwatch because they allow Deathwatch to take more Plasma Inceptors,
Yep.
or a big squad of Plasma Inceptors plus Heavy Intercessors. So you can soak them, use the Chief Apothecary to just refill the unit, and you can stack a lot of buffs like 5 of Phenol Pain, 5 of Binvolm on the
That
unit.
darn Chief Apothecary.
So he's just broken.
He's so good.
If the Grey Knights had that kind of level of things, I would never drop the Apothecary. But
No, of course not.
I just don't think he does enough, frankly.
Yeah, I get it.
And because I give him Warp Shaping, because it's the power I never really use. But if I take the Brother Captain instead, I give him Warp Shaping, and then he's also the guy helping Smites. So, we'll see. What are our StarCraft names? If people are excited about it, we could potentially do a StarCraft stream instead of this. Instead of
I'd be
like us
down.
hobbying, it could be you guys joining us for like a 4v4 or something. If enough people were interested, we could do that.
4v4? What, we get Nick and Mark in here?
Well, no, we would.
Oh, get a couple people from the chat?
Exactly.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We'd try and get as many people from chat playing.
Have the viewers just demolish me. Oh, no.
Did you see the Deep Mind games when it played StarCraft 2? Yes, I saw the games that Artosis commentated for Deep Mind. It actually was doing quite decently. When it played Protoss, it just spammed Stalkers and did a lot of stuff. What it struggled with was like constant harassment into its backfield. So when it played against some of the better players with like War Prism
Deep
harassment,
Mind like
it's an
a
AI,
program?
yeah.
Okay. It kind of reminds me of Deep Blue, so I was like, the chess AI is probably a StarCraft AI. Context clues.
Yeah, it's an AI that does all that. They're trying to see, how good it can be at StarCraft because of the mental, processes that are tested with
StarCraft, yeah.
playing StarCraft. It's actually quite good. It was able to beat several pros.
Oh.
So, yes, it's genuinely good.
Okay.
It's on the ladder, apparently. So you could run, if you were high enough, you could play against it.
No thanks. Don't need to lose to machine.
Alpha Star. Totally excited. I'm in low diamond. Yeah, I mean, if enough people wanted to do it, where we could have, a good amount of chat engaged, where people would be excited about seeing that, but we would 100% do it. We've talked about it doing it before. John and I have also talked about us streaming a Total War campaign over time. That could also be a cool thing. So if people want to see us just hanging out in different settings, let us know. Especially for the member streams.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, it's not on the ladder anymore? They took it off? Okay.
Sad.
I wonder if they'll end up doing any more show matches with it. Yeah, they did put restrictions on its APM, but it was still... It micros everything so efficiently.
Of course.
That's where it really stood out, was the micro that it did. Its builds were bizarre, to say the least. But it was interesting seeing it. And they picked Protoss because Protoss is obviously the easiest race.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Protoss.
They did some final testing, and it was beating everybody with any race, as it was just playing at 1,000 APM. When they limited it to 400, 600, it's still nuts. Yeah. I can imagine it, like 1,000 APM with Terran. I mean, every unit is microable.
Yeah. That's just insane.
Terran's the most demanding, so Zerg late game is not easy to play because of all the casters that you have. But Zerg early game is pretty easy.
I always love when we go on these StarCraft tangents.
I mean, as you can tell,
I'm here for it.
I'm a huge fan of StarCraft. I played
Absolutely.
Brood War for a long, long time.
StarCraft table,
and then
we're here for
StarCraft 2 for also quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hours pumped into that game.
Yeah.
Too many
No
to tell
doubt.
you how much. Recently, an article came out that they used some of the information learned from it for some real-life application. Yeah, I mean, StarCraft is one of the most complex games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons to be learned there, how an AI adapts to that information.
No, it's the same as chess.
I mean, chess is extremely
No,
complex as well.
StarCraft and chess, same thing.
Oh, is that what Nick said that? I was like, no.
Not quite.
No. I mean, putting yourself under a chess clock for chess makes it similar.
Yeah.
It's still not the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm a lot better at chess than I am at StarCraft, so I'm inclined to think that StarCraft is harder. But there's plenty of depth to chess that I have not explored yet. I'm certainly not a master of either.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Go. Like very complex games that require a lot of skill and practice.
Absolutely.
Not to diminish each other. Gotta hit those queen injects, yep. Spacebar to your different bases, V, 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 V. That's injects. There's a mechanical part of Zerg that I just don't like. I've always enjoyed playing Terran the most, and then Protoss second.
Everyone always thinks that I should be a Zerg player because I go hard into Tyranids, but
and
just
GSC.
always and GSC, but I just always preferred Terran.
Well, I'd argue T is the easiest race if you just go mech. I think it's the only race who had a pro with sub 80 APM. Even with mech though, like how do you expand? Expanding with mech is very difficult because it needs to be done so precisely. There are a lot of timing attacks that are efficient against mech, where your opponent's maxed out, especially a Zerg player, and you just get run over. Protoss also has some of the hardest counters to mech in the game. So mech is actually very difficult to play at a high level, in my opinion. But it's easier than bio, that's for sure.
That's true.
Bio, you need to constantly just outplay your opponent. You either need to do sharp timing attacks, like I showed John. Like people would try and cheese him, and then I was like, "Oh, they're expanding. Let's just counter right now. Build 2 bunkers in front of them, and wreck them with tanks and marines." And it was like done.
That's fun.
Castle Crow. He's got so much detail. I love it.
Yeah, he's a good model. Got to get that guy painted up.
Can we please get updated Grey Knights?
No.
I really, really want to not buy any more Grey Knights. The basic old ones.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, they're not even that old. They came out in 5th edition.
It's been a moment since they got anything new.
Yeah, it's been about 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, it's been longer than that because they came out when I stopped playing, which is around 2010.
Was it really 2010?
Yeah.
I feel like
I
it was
don't
like, I think it was like maybe it's 2011. But
hold on, we got Castle Crow here.
All right.
No.
I just remember Grey Knights were brand new the first time I went to a GT, and I was a sophomore in high school at that point. So I'm pretty sure that was 2011, like late 2011.
Yeah, I stopped playing before I went to college,
Okay.
which was in 2010. And that's when I got the Grey Knight 5th edition book and some of the new models, and never did anything with it.
Maybe they came out in 2010 and they were just really meta then. And I was not playing very hard back then, so I just remember getting absolutely wrecked by Psych Out Grenade Inquisitors and Purifiers against my poor Eternal Warrior turned army.
But yeah.
Still went 4-2. But, oof.
I think I go back to the Brother Captain. I dropped the...
I like Brother Captain.
I think because of the D6 smites, which I just need to remember on the Purifiers.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it a big deal.
And then I think is the stratagem to add 6 inches to the range of power. Can a unit do that, or could a character do that?
I think any Grey Knight unit can.
Okay, because if it's 1 CP to get the D6 smite in range, because double the 3 to a 6, add 6, go to 12-inch D6 damage smite. That's actually a point where 1 CP for that is not bad. No. In this situation, you need it.
Yeah. It's really where I need to clear a hole in a front screen to
Yep.
be able to charge something behind.
Yep. You just need to max damage on like those big 2-up save Vanguard veteran units.
Like if John did something where he had the servitors blocking me, I'd be like, I just want to get rid of them in one go and start the rest of the smites.
Would I do that?
I did it.
Yep.
The servitors are just so funny.
Servitors are pretty good.
I was waiting for that one Vanguard to go in there, and then the servitors just knock him out. Just
Nick,
fail save.
Nick would have. I mean, Nick would have somehow found a way to lose him.
It's like that's the one thing that can't happen.
Yeah. I was watching that one with bated breath. I was like, no, you can't.
The old Metal Grey Knights, I think they were these are the first time the new plastic kits came out.
Yeah.
I think it was around 2010.
I'm still feeling 2011, honest to God.
Would be interested to hear your faction collection history. I started in 3rd edition, like early part of 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with Blood Angels and slowly added Metal Grey Knights to that, and really wanted to play Demon Hunters, which was the codex back then.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 armies I started with, and then I came back into I played until very beginning of 5th edition, and missed 6th and 7th, and then started.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Started in the 2nd year of 8th edition, so I didn't even get early 8th. With the craziness that was. So
we missed you.
Started when 8th started settling, and with Grey Knights,
Mhm.
and then did Tau.
Yeah. Well, you went into Tau pretty early, right? Like you didn't do Grey
After
Knights
I
for
did.
very long.
Well, I bought a full Grey Knight collection,
Oh, okay.
and then I did Tau,
Then did Tau?
and I really just played Tau competitively.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
I started playing competitively.
Got it. So, let's break this one down. So, I started in 4th edition, tail end of 4th edition, playing Tyranids. And I played Tyranids pure, just like forever. I think I bought, that was in, I think of this by years, that was in 2008, I think. I think I got it, like, in 2008 for my birthday. Like, I got, like, the Tyranid Codex and a box of gods. I had some Lord of the Rings before that, but 40k started on my 12th birthday. And we rocked that out, pure Tyranids, for a very long time. My first ally was a single Imperial Knight, which I I got in like 6th edition. I had a small Space Marine collection in 5th edition, but it was basically the Assault on Black Reach box and like a couple tactical squads and like a Devastator. So like very minimal. Like never really saw them on the table. Just had some old painted models that are terrible and I've already sold. The first time I played an army that wasn't Tyranids, like actually played, was towards the end of 7th edition. On the ride back from ATC one year, someone sat on my box of Flyrants and broke 5 of them. And I was just very much like, I've been playing Tyranids forever, I don't want to fix this. I went out and bought a Demon collection. And I played Screamer Star, Flying Circus Demons for a couple months. I just wasn't happy with it. Like, it was a good army. It was honestly broken. And I certainly did well, at local RTTs and things. But it wasn't really satisfied. And then they released Genestealer Cult, like, as a faction. So, of course, I immediately sold every single Chaos model I owned, because I didn't like playing Chaos. So I sold all of that, and immediately got it myself into Genestealer Cult. And Genestealer Cult rocked me out through the end of 7th, I think. I did some Tyranid Allies, 8th edition. I bought Guard. And then I just started buying everything. When I became a meta chaser. Like, it was like, I bought guards so that I could do Brood Brothers, because that was the first time that was allowed, was with the indexes.
Yeah.
And then that very quickly snowballed into Custodies are cool, I'll play them with my guard, and Space Marines are broken, and I borrowed a Harlequin army, and now I just kind of play a lot of armies. That very quickly snowballed once I started going hard on the tournament circuit, into just getting the armies I needed to do what I wanted to do. The meta chasing will get you like that. When did you get into Necrons then? I think that's for you, Mr. Siegs.
I had a Necron collection probably the 3rd year of 8th edition.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it in like a couple friendly games at some local gaming stores, but I didn't play it in any competitive games. And then started really playing Necrons with the new codex because it got me excited about their brand new playstyle, which I really like.
Yeah. So a new addition to the Necron bandwagon. I did the same thing. I bought a bunch of Metal Sisters right before the Sisters came out, and then as they got plastic models, I started selling those Metal Sisters to Mr. Nick Nanavati, and then that quickly escalated to me owning a lot of plastic Sisters, which we are still working on painting.
A cousin of mine played Necrons when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
So I liked them from back then when they still had like pariahs and stuff.
Ooh, pariahs? That's a throwback right there.
So I was a fan back then. Always wanted to play them, and then the new codex gave me the perfect opportunity to do so.
Yeah, now's the time to do it for sure.
After playing StarCraft for 10 years, I think everybody finds their race the hardest and least powerful. Probably.
Oh, absolutely, Terran.
Except Protoss players.
Except Protoss players.
They
Still
know.
easy.
They know.
They know what they've done.
There's a reason for all the jokes about 1A. The Protoss key. You ever see that meme with the Protoss keyboard?
Yeah, I think so.
Where it's F1 and A,
Yep.
just attack move. Gather everything, attack move. Yeah, Protoss.
Ugh, don't like them. Never liked elves. Protoss are just basically elves as far as I'm concerned.
Space elves. Any armies we will probably just not play no matter which way the meta shifts? Chaos?
Specifically Nurgle.
Yeah. I would play Khorne.
I would play Slanesh. As you saw, I played a couple games with pure Slanesh. So I wouldn't say Chaos is a super faction, because there's some interesting part. I don't mind Tzeentch, and I mostly just like Flying Circus stuff. I went from Flyrant spam to Demon spam, because it was like, alright, this guy's a Flyrant, but cheaper, casts spells and has an invuln save, and is better in close combat. I was like, yeah, we're gonna stop playing with Flyrants. That was the reality of that situation. I'm really not a big fan of orcs.
Yeah,
now there's always room for change because there are cool orc models, so it's not inconceivable. But the playstyle that orcs have had for a very long time really doesn't appeal to me. I'm very much a play with reliable units kind of person. I like planning and being able to plan, and orcs you just cannot plan for anything.
Come on, you want random everywhere.
I do not. I like making charges, I like my shots hitting, I like wounding, I like having saving throws.
The shock attack gun.
I do not like that. It's like, yeah, so the shock attack gun just rolled 7 consecutive 6s and killed more Terran on Overwatch. Funny how that works. I'm like, sorry, what? What? Get that off.
Or when Andrew Gagnon got just tabled, his Centurion list just got annihilated.
Yeah, but like just a shock attack gun just picked up the entire Centurion squad, then it shot twice, picked up the second one. I was like, are these real words?
Oh man,
that's just a thing that happens apparently.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, but also just the model count. I tend to not want to play gigantic.
I actually like high model count stuff. I used to play Tyranid Hordes. And I would 100% go back to a Tyranid Swarm, like no problem at all if that became a remotely competitive thing, which it is not. Eric LaFerre's can work magic, but that's not me. So I would love for a high model count army that's not orcs to be viable.
Yeah, Necrons really aren't high model count. We run a couple large units, but it's still overall the model count's still medium size.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Necrons are pretty reasonable. I mean, so are like Space Marines and Sisters. None of that's very egregious. I think most of the good armies in the game right now are not particularly high model count, though.
Yeah.
We'll see about orcs. I know Mark still really likes big units of boys.
What about Drukhari with 100 racks?
That's... Can't wait to see what changes the Dark Elder Codex brings. I'll leave it at that, because there's no way.
Nope.
There's no way that's just we're just taking them and making them 33% cheaper.
It would be Iron Hands all over again.
That's exactly what would happen. That would be unbearable.
I played Drukhari 2 if Vec came back. I like Vec a lot.
Yeah, Vec is pretty cool. You just want the trench coat incubi.
I want the trench coat. That's what John knows.
I know. I know the way.
One of the coolest things in the whole game. That's one of the things that when I saw the model, I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Trench coat incubi.
Yeah. Because that was around the time where the Matrix had been popularized and was
trench coats were kind of badass.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Duster.
Oh, Jesus.
Bring back Phase Out to nerf the Robot Men. I remember that.
The first tournament game that I ever won, was against Necrons. The first RTT I went 1-2. I beat a Necron player with my my Tyranids, and I did it by phasing him out on accident. I didn't know phase out was a rule.
So he just told you, it's like, oh.
Yeah, I wasn't aiming for it. I was just trying to kill his stuff and control objectives. I kept forgetting to bring my Trigon in from reserves. This was right when the Trigon came out, because that was it was 10 years ago, give or take. I think it was about 10 years ago. And I just didn't realize that I was almost about to table him, and then I just killed a couple more models, and he's like, alright, I just phased out. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you just won. I'm like, what? that was a silly roll right there.
Yeah, I mean, it really hurt if you took the gigantic units like the Monolith.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He had a Monolith, and I tried to kill it once and just did literally 0 damage. I'm like, oh, okay, we're done with this. We're going to work on the other stuff now. And that worked out a lot better.
When making lists for the Nopin, were any considerations made for someone not as experienced with a faction using the list? Definitely.
100%. That's 100%.
Yes, that was a real concern.
That absolutely was. Didn't want to see my white scars get done dirty.
But also, the other consideration was the army list that people were already submitting, which were mostly Marines and Sisters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were like, we can do something different.
Yeah, and these are two cool armies that we thought should be represented in any theoretical top 16, like, I feel like if there was a top 8, I would expect to see a Necron list there.
Yep.
One, Siegler. Two, totally possible another Necron player, like, because Necrons are just genuinely pretty good.
Yeah, they have great tools, and overall in the meta, like, they're right up there with Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Look at all these crypt decks.
I'm thinking if we can end this meeting so I can eat lunch and listen to the Streamhouse Boys. You can tell them that.
You can do it, Gundam. Yeah. Let them know your priorities.
That 40k talk is
That's
absolutely essential.
I mean, it is 100%. Like, there's no argument here. No argument for me, at least. Like, I know what's important in life. It's the 40k. Gundam, I wish you could hear us. I'll tell you all of the lovely, lovely plans I have for Custodes. So is the Custodes into Necrons going to be pure Custodes, if that ends up materializing?
Yes.
Pure Custodes again? Alright, sorry. We'll make it happen.
It's Gundam's list.
Oh, I don't know what Gundam's list is, so...
Yeah. Gundam, what is the current list you're running in the Art of War League?
Assume Gundam cannot hear us?
I will message him.
Alright, we'll get this sorted out, folks.
But yeah, that's what Lyle wants.
Okay.
Fake VPN ISP issues? Is there an issue with the stream? Hopefully not.
Interesting.
What that is in regards to.
Yeah, I don't know what Matto is saying there. Matto, let us know what that message is in the context of. I'll admit I don't understand.
I believe it's the stuff you use to try and watch like football games legally or stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
So. All seems good? Okay, excellent.
Alright, perfect. That is what I like to hear.
I am just putting some bronze on Anarchy.
Anarchy. Do you have Emotech painted up yet?
Yes, but I put them on a command barge.
Oh, you glued them in?
Yeah, but it's not that hard to get them off.
I just want to get, because I think next week's paint stream project is going to be some Black Templar characters for me. But so I kind of want to get Helbert into Emotech.
Emotech is on the command barge.
Okay, that's alright. Okay. I'll knock him right off the barge and then cut his head off.
Emotech will slay the fool Helbrecht.
Nah, 0%. Get out of here. These crusading Teutonic Knights are unstoppable.
And then I'll force you. You want a devout push? You got 1 CP? 2 CP. Get out of here.
Oh, is that what Emotech does?
That's Xandric.
Oh,
I would bring Xandric for sure.
I mean, sure, you might as well.
And Oberyn. Might as well.
Might as well.
I'm running Sawtech. I'm going to run all the fun characters. Nah, Gundam should fake having issues to drop his meeting. Oh, okay, that's what he's saying.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm having PC issues here.
Getting out of Zoom classes. I'm so glad that I was no longer a college student by the time this all went down. As someone who got to watch a lot of people try to go through that,
I had to teach a whole course last summer.
Yeah, that's not the best thing in the world.
It was not easy.
Bless you for trying. That just doesn't sound fun.
The best.
No doubt.
Alright, we got do a little highlighting here.
A little more highlighting? Okay.
Yep.
Just putting some wood on the last of these mortifiers here. Trying to get these all knocked out here, but they may need a little touch-up afterwards. God bless these mortifiers.
The Emperor bless them.
No, the Emperor has turned his back on them. They are penitents. They will repent for their sins by flailing directly into the traitorous Dark Mechanicum forces tomorrow.
Yeah, the forces of light, John.
Yeah, you don't have to call a bunch of traitors over there. Do not acknowledge your sovereignty.
The vectability on Xandric is cool. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's the...
Is it a vect or does it make something cost an extra CP?
It's it's an actual vect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a vect.
Oh, that's actually...
It's a vect, a light vect.
What does a light vect mean?
I don't know. I had to reread it.
Okay. For some reason I thought it was a Codias.
No, I think it's actually a vect.
Oh, that's really good.
It's once per game.
Yeah, I mean, you can simplify that, but like that's still kind of a nice tool to have. We'll see if Death Guard end up with some stratagems that are just kind of must-haves. It's nice to have that tech in your faction.
Yeah. Feels like Death Guard are the faction. Like, they had several must-haves.
Before, with like Cloud of Flies. Or you could just stop Cloud of Flies one time after they're done moving their army. It's like, oops, sorry, your brick is now in shooting range. Like, get good. You just wreck them. I enjoyed that, at least. Like, the one time you turn off... I mean, I did that to, like, Alpha Legion a couple times.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, surprise. Like, the shooting phase is happening.
The Alpha Legion one is shooting phase only, right?
Yeah.
You started... Yeah, that was why...
When it started the shooting phase?
When Grey Knights came out, and I had got... Well, when the Grey Knight Psychic Awakening came out, I was like, you shoot in the Psychic phase?
Interesting.
This is not what I wanted to see. My possessed are dead.
This is bad now.
My possessed are actually dead.
Yes. Killing possessed is a very worthy cause.
I saw that Liam Hackett submitted a 60 possessed list.
What?
For Las Vegas Open. Yeah, it's a 60 possessed. 3 units of 20. You didn't see that?
No, I haven't looked, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. And Mark must...
Liam Hackett's Australia, right?
Yes.
He's one of their WTC guys?
Yep.
Alright, so it can't be as crazy as the initial words that you just said make it sound.
It's Word Bearers 60 possessed.
Man, that's bold.
Yes.
That's spicy. Not saying I hate it, because I don't know what it does, but I recall playing against Word Bearers possessed in the past, and I remember what happened. I obliterated them, to be clear. But
You go first and they lose.
that's actually exactly what happened. I went first and just started lighting them up. It's like, interesting.
Yes. It's not easy to hide 60 possessed.
It is not. You know, I'm just so ready for Warp Time to get nerfed. Now, to be clear, I don't purely hate Chaos, and I would like other things to get buffed to keep Chaos Space Marines relevant. But, like, literally, without Warp Time, this faction would not exist.
Yeah, and honestly, on the smaller boards, Warp Time it's too good.
Yeah, and I'm okay with removing Twilight Pathways and Quicken and Hive Commander. Like, I'm alright removing all of that. I just don't like when one spell is so necessary that you literally... an entire faction devolves into how do I use this.
Yep.
And I feel like that's where Chaos Space Marine is at right now. Because I don't think Chaos Space Marine exists without Warp Time.
I mean, they barely exist with it, to be fair.
Exactly.
Let's be fair here.
Yeah, no, and again, you know what? Put that nerf in at the same time as other buffs. I don't want Chaos Space Marines to not exist. But there's just so many other ways to make the faction interesting. And I would rather that they use those.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the same thing with Necrons. There's like army that shoots and drops a bunch of mortals on you, or a well-balanced faction that does a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, the Necron update is a perfect example of what I would love for every faction, especially Tyranids to get. Please, Tyranids, please. What you working on next there?
Just do the shade paint over the highlight.
There you go.
If you use it on an OP reroll at the start of a turn, say nope for the rest of the turn. Yeah, I mean, there's always... there's less opportunity for crucial rerolls now that you can only do it on certain ones.
Yeah.
But it's still possible. I can't wait for Veterans of the Long War to be restricted to Chosen only or something. That
would be so good. I would love that so much.
Frankly.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's what it should
almost
be.
every codex is getting strats that only work on a specific data sheet, which I feel like is going to be the trend for most of them.
Mm-hmm. And that would also give people a reason to take Chosen, which, you know, again, I'm not opposed to. Chosen are a cool, fluffy unit that's been around for a while and has struggled to be relevant through those years. It's the kindest way I can put it.
Oh, Chaos have Chosen?
Yeah, exactly. Chosen had a couple moments of glory here and there. None of them particularly long-lasting. But if you give the Sergeant a Lightning Claw...
Oh, Mark.
It's the Lightning Claw Chosen.
Oh, my God. Mark just sits in a theory tank.
He does. He does get some good ideas out of it, though.
Yeah.
I can't...
No.
It may sound like we're making fun of Mark, but also we have learned to fear the theory tank.
Yeah,
because sometimes
what is this?
weird things happen and you're like, oh my god, these Custodes Terminators are taking 27 invulns? It's like, yeah, Abaddon swung. What? That's what it actually felt like.
Yep.
Like, spend 4 command points or lose the entire Terminator squad immediately.
The Silent King did it without command points.
Okay, I just failed out all my saves. That's different. I was like 0 for 7. I was like, all right, great.
This is not what needed to happen this turn.
No. Like, we could have kept this close, and I just need something besides this to happen. Yeah, heavy bolts done. Getting that progress. Oh, beautiful mortifiers. Love me some mortifiers.
Pete and the Falcons said that the Aussies made crazy lists for no open. They did indeed.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That was one of the lists, is
That's
60
insane.
possessions. Like, what is going on?
Why?
Do we need this?
I really hope that we end up playing that one on stream.
Oh my god.
Oh, come on. Don't you want that?
It's too multi-dimensional. It's not going to make it that far.
So probably not, but still.
Yeah. The other thing is we had to design lists that could fit on different
Streamers?
terrain formats. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also need to make sure different streamers will be able to use it.
Yeah.
Because, if we're the only people that own,
30 Deathcore Krieg Riders. And
yeah, then it's like, well, this doesn't actually work with the streams.
Yeah.
Fortunately, or unfortunately, we're not owning 30 Deathcore Krieg Riders. We own 0.
Yep, we don't own it.
I really want to make that happen. It's just like the effort required to get that many Deathcore Riders is insane. Because we would have to convert it. Like, half the time they're sold out of Forge Roll, and like affording them is insane.
Yeah.
We could get like 30
And all it takes is another balance update in a couple months, and it's like, why did I do that?
Like, what I would consider is getting 3 boxes of Guardsmen and like 30 Lord of the Rings Rohirrim. That's something I would actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've got, just like, take the Rohirrim models, give them some 40k aesthetics, give their spears a little flair. Like, I'm sure we can get a bunch of random pole arms out of all of the random boxes we have in here. There are pole arms somewhere. Or even just give them like a different weapon. But something would be cool. So I would love to put those units on the table.
Or Endless Cacophony to Noise Marines? No. No more.
I think Endless Cacophony should be limited to Noise Marines.
I don't think it should exist.
All right,
They're getting rid of stuff like that.
That's true. Shoot twices are generally going away, and I'm alright with this.
Yeah.
Because then all of the other buffs become exponential, like veterans.
Yep. And all prescience, etc.
Yep.
So I just don't think that should exist.
That's fair. Those poor Noise Marines.
No. Noise Marines had their day multiple days in the sun.
We need more. We need to paint more Noise Marines.
No, Mark will repainted them.
Yeah. Well, like, we have like 40 of them.
You gotta strip them, then you gotta paint them again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wasn't there a whole set of demonettes we could have had painted instead?
No, that's the Harlequin army I'm thinking of. Gotta get Nick on these paint streams.
Eventually. He's talking Eldar right now, and he is pretty hyped about Eldar, and you're gonna get to see it on
Indeed.
Thursday. That is Nick playing his latest and greatest Eldar list. It's been a while. Into Mr. Mark Perry, who is
running the Chaos Space Marines.
testing out his latest version of the Chaos Space Marines and its World Eaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's mostly World Eater with a little bit of Word Bearer support.
All right. So still
Super
a classic
excited to see
theme,
that.
but quite important points decreases for Mark.
Yeah, no kidding. The World Eaters list looks significantly improved. Honest to God.
Then we have, after that, the Worm Stream, which both John and I have been painting towards.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be John with Imperium Soup, Guard plus Sisters, versus the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Absolutely.
Forge World. So, that's all coming up. And if you're good, John.
I'm good to go.
Good. If anybody has any other questions, we will be back, of course, with another hobby stream on Monday. And then, as always, Wednesdays will be the members-only one. So, if you want to hang out with us, and if you want things like us playing, Total War Warhammer or StarCraft, let us know if enough people are excited about that. We will 100% do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.